Hey, what's going on, everybody? In this video, we're reacting to Nate O'Brien's 26 uncommon business ideas for the 2023 recession. I like how he just assumes we're already in a recession, but I'm excited to get into this one because I know Nate O'Brien definitely is going to have a lot of interesting ideas here that you probably actually haven't heard. They're probably actually uncommon, but also he's a pretty handy guy. So curious to see some of these, how tough they are to start. So there's no promises here of side hustles that'll make you a certain amount per day. It's just uncommon business ideas. So I'm basically going to give you on all these businesses, how easy they be to start, how profitable I think they can actually be. So let's jump into it.
So in this video, I'm going to share a massive list of business ideas that you can implement in 2023. So let's go ahead and get started with this video. But these are all business ideas that I would personally consider doing this year.
Okay, so he said he's going to personally consider doing all these in 2023. We'll see about that. I mean, I know he makes probably hundreds of thousands on YouTube, probably even more with the affiliate links and things like that. So I don't know if these will really be worth it for him to start. We'll see about that.
I can guarantee that there's some in here that you've never heard of. So let's get into it right now. Now, the first business that I think I would go out and start today in 2023 is a Twitter ghostwriting business. And the reason why I say this is because last year I reached out to a couple of people. I wanted to have someone basically pretend to be me on Twitter and just tweet things every day because I wanted to grow that account. And so I got quotes from half a dozen different people who offered those services. And the range was anywhere from $2,000 to $6,000 per month.
Whoa, okay, that seems excessive. $2,000 to $6,000 per month to tweet. How many tweets are you getting? Are you getting one per day? It's 30 tweets a month for $2,000 on the low end. Seems like the people he was reaching out to, people will do this. You could find them on Fiverr for $50, $100 per month. Don't think you can get $2,000 to $6,000 unless you have like a really good proven track record of doing this. But a good idea here. But you can also do this on other platforms like LinkedIn and make money, but you can also repurpose content from TikTok, YouTube, and put it on these different platforms as well, which is another added bonus and thing to offer clients that could be good on top of this. I would say to start, you're not going to make anywhere close to 1,000 per client, but maybe if you build it up over time, you can get to over 1,000.
All right, so the second thing that you can consider doing as a business this year is to build custom vans for people who are looking to do van life.
Okay, so this is what I was talking about. You got to be handy for this and very niche.
So I know for a fact that there is a massive backorder for people who do this, where there's so many people who want to do van life, right? It's obviously it's very trendy, but it's only growing, the amount of people who want to do this. But they don't know how to build out an interior of a van. They don't know how to outfit it with a bed and a sink and everything else. If you have some basic skills with carpentry, or just understand how to use a hammer and screwdriver and everything, then you can probably.
Okay, I think your skills have to be more than basic using a saw and hammer.
I'm telling you right now that you can profit sometimes upwards of $10,000 per van.
Whew, he says you can make $10,000 per van in profit. I don't know about that. It seems like most people that are into van life like this don't have a ton of money to spend. If they're paying you $10,000, but the equipment also costs $5,000, they're going to spend $15,000 to outfit their van. Seems like a lot. I would think maybe they would be paying $10,000 in total, and you keep $3,000 of that, and everything else goes to the parts, and they're basically paying you that $4,000 in labor. $10,000 for one van job seems like a hefty amount.
So speaking of vehicles, the next one is to flip cars, and not like literally flipping cars like you're rioting, but buy cars at auctions, specifically at auctions, and then turn around and sell them for a profit.
Flipping cars definitely going to be viable. There's a lot of paperwork and stuff that goes into flipping cars. Also, if you're not into flipping yet, like flipping things from yard sales and thrift stores and stuff, I definitely recommend starting with that because it's much less risky. You could pay thousands of dollars for a car and not have it sell. It could be worth like less than you think it is, and you have to sell at a loss. So it's definitely going to take some trial and error, and I would start with smaller things than cars. Cars is on the higher end of things that you could try to flip. But I mean, go out there and try to flip things like calculators, clothes, stuff like that. You'd rather be stuck with 2 or 3 calculators that you can't sell, or 2 or 3 cars. Like, where are you going to put these cars? And you're just going to be much more in the hole, and there could run into like mechanical problems. I guess you could with calculators too, but not clothes. Cars just a lot more risk, I would go with something less risky, in my opinion, unless you're just ready to go with cars. But if you're successful at flipping cars, you're definitely going to make more than, even if you flip 100 t-shirts, flipping just 1 or 2 cars, you could make more money. So there is higher upside there as well.
Okay, this next one is for people who are looking to do something from their computer, and it's by building and selling templates. And specifically what I'm talking about in this category is something like Notion templates or Excel templates.
This is the second video now that I've done that someone's mentioned Notion templates. I think it was Mr. Reese. If you haven't seen that one, he mentioned this one. Definitely Excel is going to be a more common thing to flip, but Notion, maybe the market is not as convoluted as it's going to be with something like Notion. So maybe that's why people are going to Notion. It's just a little underserved right now. There's a ton of different templates you could sell. You could sell Instagram filtered templates. You could sell email templates, invitation templates, things like that as well. I would recommend going on Etsy and selling them. I think you can do eBay as well, maybe even Amazon and Gumroad as well. But the profit is limitless. I mean, on Etsy, some people sell hundreds of templates per month and others sell, 1 or less per month. So really you just got to have a good product and get it out there, probably do some kind of ads to get yourself known and get some reviews first.
Another business idea is a 3D printing business. So my brother has a 3D printer, and I'm always calling him up asking if he can print certain products that I can use for my desk setup, or I might need it for one of my cars, or like a phone holder.
Pretty cool idea, starting a 3D printing business and marketing it out on like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist maybe, so you can print some local things for people. That's how I would get started with it. Obviously, you have to have a 3D printer or buy one and figure out how to use it. But if you can do that, then it's a viable business. I don't know how much money you're going to make doing this. If you're selling things like cup holders, like Nate O'Brien suggested here, maybe $20 per cup holder or something. It's kind of a lot to pay for a cup holder, $20. It's a smaller business, I say, you could start.
So the next business idea is to build outdoor offices. So outdoor office space is something that obviously got kind of trendy back in 2020 when we had the whole pandemic.
This seems like a pretty cool idea and something that people would actually want, and probably not a lot of competition for people building this. If you put out an ad on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, again, showing like some of these that you've built, you could get some buyers and you could charge them, I don't know, let's see what he says, but I would think $5,000 maybe on the high end, depending on how good you're going to make them, if they're like insulated and like a tiny home, essentially. I mean, tiny homes would go for more. But then again, Nate O'Brien, definitely a handier guy than 90-something% of the population, including myself. I would have no idea where to start with building one of these. And, I honestly couldn't even do it by myself.
A Christmas tree farm is so interesting of a business idea because, first of all, my grandfather's been selling Christmas trees for over 50 or 60 years now. If you have any land, then I think this is a great opportunity. Now, if you don't have land, don't worry, because there's still ways that you can go about this. You can lease land from people. I love making money on land because you're literally watching trees grow and you're making money from it. So yes, I'm biased on that, but I just think Christmas tree farms are really cool.
Okay, starting a Christmas tree farm, I don't know how long it takes to grow one Christmas tree. Like, can you start right now in March, November, they're going to be a full-grown Christmas tree? I don't know. I mean, possibly. I haven't Googled how long it takes to grow a pine tree. So that's the first thing to think about. This might not make you money for over a year and a half here until the trees are fully grown. Also, you have to have land, like he said. I mean, leasing land and then selling trees once a year, I don't know how much money you're going to make doing that. If you're leasing land for a couple $100s per month and then you sell 100 Christmas trees at $50 each, how much are you going to make? $2,000-$3,000 so in a year? So I don't know about this one. But obviously some people can scale this up huge, like he said his grandpa did. So if you can get to that point, it's just going to be really slow to start out.
So here's something that I have a lot of respect for, and that is starting a trucking business. So there are over 2.5 million truckers in the United States. But if you can start a trucking business and pick up very profitable routes, then you can make a lot of money in this industry. Now, as a whole already, the average trucker makes some pretty good money, especially if you're a long-haul trucker. But if you have your own routes, there are possibilities of making upwards of 6 figures per year. And I've seen people make millions per year if they have the right routes. Now, it's hard to get that, and the trucking industry is very, very interesting. And I recommend studying it a lot before you ever consider jumping in.
Okay, you said you can make hundreds of thousands, even $1 million. Basically, being a trucker, you just got to find the right route. I don't know anything about trucking or anything like that, but personally, I wouldn't want to drive as a trucker. I think the way to do this would be to start a trucking business where you're not actually the driver. I mean, there's going to be some massive startup costs. I think you would just have to buy the trucks, which are going to be expensive. 18-wheelers, definitely over 100 grand, I would imagine. So again, this is going to be a tough one.
Start a catering business. Now, look, the food industry is really tough. If you've ever tried to start a restaurant or a fast food chain, or you've even worked in them, you know that margins are really, really tough in the food industry. But the catering business is a lot more interesting because you don't have to rely on daily customers coming in the door. There's a lot more predictability with the catering business. And so if you get certain clients, maybe you're catering for wedding events, or you're catering for someone's yacht party, or you're catering for maybe like a school, when you have something like that, it's a lot more predictable. And so you know how many people to hire, you know how much food to buy. And so I think...
Okay, so I watched the whole thing. I was waiting for him to say how much money you can make catering, because I'm actually curious. I don't know. It depends on the event size, how many people you have to feed, and how nice the event is. But I'm guessing you can make a decent amount of money. I definitely actually would recommend this over starting your own restaurant, at least first. Make sure you can make good food before you start a restaurant. And this seems like a lot less risk. The worst case scenario basically is you make a ton of food, it falls out of the back of your car, or you drop it walking in, or you mess up making the food, and then the whole event is ruined. But for the most part, 90-something% of the time, you're going to be able to make the food and deliver it. As long as you can bid on these and win these contracts and deals at a high rate, I mean, this should be a pretty good business.
Business idea is to start a campground or to buy a campground. Now, yeah, buying one outright is going to cost you a lot of money, but if you have a lot of land, once again, you can start a campground, make money on this. Campsites right now, $50, $60 a night for basic utilities in campgrounds. And so it's kind of like a hotel, but you don't have to go in and hire someone to like clean rooms and make beds and everything every day. It's a lot more passive on that side.
This is a pretty interesting one. And actually, I know someone who has done this in Northern California. They had a bunch of land in their backyard and kind of got it looking nice and set up teepees and actually rents them on Airbnb for people to camp out in the woods behind their house in these pretty cool looking teepees they made. And they charge over $100 per night for one of the teepees. So pretty cool idea. It probably cost them a couple $100 per teepee. They have a lot of people ordering them on Airbnb. So definitely a good idea if you have extra land and kind of live in a cool wooded area like that. But again, pretty niche. Most people watching this probably don't have access to that.
Okay, the next one is to become an interior designer. When I move into places, I tend to be minimalist, and a lot of that is because I just don't want to or don't know how to furnish an apartment properly. I'm a guy in my 20s. Yeah, part of me doesn't.
Okay, so I think it's harder than he's saying here to just start an interior design business. Most people in interior design went to school for that, or even grad school, actually know what they're doing. It's like some people may think they have good taste, but actually setting something up like this is going to be pretty hard. I would recommend maybe working for an interior design company in some capacity first, so you can figure out what you're doing. To actually make real money with this, you're going to have to do some really nice houses. So if you live in like New York City or somewhere nice in Southern California, you could make more money doing this. And if you have connections, it's even better to get these kind of clients, because it's probably be hard to get high paying clients, especially if you're just starting out from nothing. But let's see how much he says you can make here.
If someone approached me, I would totally pay someone to furnish my apartments when I move into them, because I just don't really have the know-how.
Yeah, but how much are a 20-year-old normal kid, not like him, who's making, I don't know how much money he's making, $300,000 plus a year, I would say, on the conservative end. Most people in their 20s making, $50,000 to $100,000 per year. How much are they going to pay when you move into a new apartment to furnish it, especially if they're on a year lease? It's going to be harder to crack into a real market than just your friends or your friends' friends that make, $50,000 to $100,000 per year.
I would say this one's especially good for if you are someone and you have a lot of friends who are wealthy. Your social circle is just like a lot of business people or a lot of executives. Maybe you live in like New York or Los Angeles or Dubai or something where people just tend to be pretty affluent and have a lot of money. If that's the case, then this might be a pretty good opportunity for you to do some interior design for people when they move into new places. Because imagine how much you can make if someone buys a $30 million penthouse in New York and you are the interior designer for that.
Okay, if you're furnishing a $30 million penthouse, yeah, you're going to make money, but how is somebody going to trust you without some kind of track record in this, you know?
Business that I really wanted to start last year. I just don't have the time for it, but it's a very unique e-commerce business. Now, if you just try to go out and like start a jewelry business or something or a t-shirt business, that's really tough. And
I think this is a good idea. This is definitely something I've done in the past. Looking at Etsy and other sites, you could sell even like print on demand stuff, and just looking at a website like Printful that makes the print on demand items, and just looking for products that look cool and you could think could sell for some good profit margin on a site like Etsy, then going to Etsy and seeing if it's an underserved niche. That's what I did, and I was making bank on Etsy for a long time doing that until the niche got like oversaturated basically. So definitely a good idea. Let's see if he has any cool ideas for niche products.
Yes, it's possible some people can break through, but if you're looking to do e-commerce, then it's super important to go into something that is super, super niche. So one thing that I saw blow up literally last around Thanksgiving of last year was flamethrowers. In the United States, people, I don't know, it's just the US, but whoever was making these are perfectly legal in the US, by the way, because they're for agricultural reasons.
For some reason, I thought that was Elon Musk, one of his companies that was doing that, but maybe it was just a random company.
They're making millions of dollars from something like that. Now, you take that same concept, like I'm not telling you to go out and make flamethrowers, but you take that same concept where you run the numbers. You know, you see something on TikTok, you say, okay, this product, it's going viral. A lot of people are buying it. There's not many suppliers. How much do you think they're making? And you run some calculations in your head, quick and dirty numbers. How much would it cost to make that? And then how much could I sell it for? You run some numbers, you calculate how many people are probably buying it.
Okay, so basically just general basic Shopify dropshipping advice here. Find a product that's really cool and people would want that not a lot of people are selling, and make a dropshipping store. So definitely a viable business. I have done dropshipping stores myself. Some of them do really well. Some of them don't do well at all. You can make a lot of money if they really hit and you know what you're doing, but you got to figure out everything about this dropshipping business before you can actually make some real money with that. It takes a lot of trial and error and a lot of different websites and products you got to try.
Starting a notary business is also a great opportunity for 2023. You know, if you are buying a vehicle from a private party, or you're trying to transfer, you know, a title of something, you're trying to transfer a home purchase, like there's a lot of things that require something to be notarized. And so you have to go to a public notary for this. And it's actually not terrible. Well, it depends, but it's not terribly difficult to become a public notary. So look into that. You know, you might need some licensing, but it really does depend on your state. But it is a great opportunity for people, and it can be one of those sort of side businesses that you have that, you know, you're not doing 100% of the time.
I've heard of people doing this. Definitely, it doesn't seem that hard to get a license to do this, but you got to find clients. Basically, all these business comes down to finding clients. Most of these things seem like they would work that I've seen him talk about, but you just got to find the clients and get the word of mouth going and build up a clientele for something like this. But you can definitely do this as well. So this video is very long. It's 34 minutes. So I'm going to do these first 13 in this first part, and then you could see the second part. It'll be linked in one of these end cards. Unless I haven't made the video yet, this will be a different video that you could check out. So this has been pretty interesting so far. He's got a lot of uncommon business ideas that have been fun and interesting to look at. So looking forward to the next one. Subscribe for that, and I'll catch you in the next video.